council chamber was heavy with silence. The sound sat tall at the balance of judgment, surrounded by the grim faces of his council of elders. Raising the sacred scroll high, the king spoke. "We have received word from Iku himself, and as custom demands, blood must answer blood. Any who object, let them cast their vote now, or forever hold their peace." Not a word was uttered. Not even from Ajoki, who lurked hidden among the pillars, her face drawn with terror. With that, Ajanaku's fate was sealed. He would journey once more into the heart of the evil forest. With that, Ajanaku was summoned by the king. The last time Ajanaku braved those haunted woods, it was battle that found him, fighting demons on the road to Sango's temple. But this time, he was calm, for he believed he was summoned by Iku himself, an ally now, who would reveal the traitor that betrayed Oyo to the Dahomey. Meanwhile, deep in the burning belly of Dahomey, the captured subjects of Oyo bent beneath the weight of chains both visible and unseen, farming lands that were once their own, building monuments not to their gods, but to their captors, suffering in silence. But one figure stood among them, a figure who should not have been there. The king of Oyo, crowned once by ancestors, now clad in rags. His royal staff replaced by a crude farming hoe. His voice, once thunderous in court, now buried beneath commands from foreign lips. And yet, they did not kill him. They let him live, forced him to labor among his broken people, to watch them suffer, to carry shame on his shoulders day after day. But why? Was it cruelty? Was it political theater, or something darker? Did Dahomey fear his death more than his life? Did they know, deep down, that the blood of kings does not vanish in exile? It boils, it waits, and when stirred, it rises. Back in Ogbomoso, Ajanaku and Ajoke walked hand in hand along the sacred riverbanks, the waters whispering ancient songs, the air thick with the fragrance of wet earth and hibiscus. Their fingers entwined, their steps slow, as if time itself dared not intrude on the sanctity of this moment. Ajoke leaned into him, her cheek brushing the curve of his shoulder. Her heart, fragile and trembling, beat a desperate rhythm against her ribs, afraid of what tomorrow might take from her. Her eyes, full of unspoken pleas, searched his face. "I'm afraid," she whispered, and Ajanaku, with a calm forged in fire and softened by love, turned to her, his eyes reflecting the same storm she hid. "I will return to you," he said. From beneath his garment, he drew the small pearl she had once gifted him. Now dulled from wear, but sacred still, it hung from a leather cord resting over his heart like a secret vow. Ajoke gasped softly, tears catching in her lashes. She touched the pearl with reverence, as though it were a lifeline between them. They embraced beneath the weeping willows, branches bowing in silence, like elders bearing witness to the ache of farewell. She pressed her face to his chest, as if trying to memorize the rhythm of his breath. He held her like she was made of prophecy, of fate and fire and all the softness he never knew he needed. Then slowly, as if each step unstitched him from her, Ajanaku turned away, and with every step into the shadow of the evil forest, her name echoed louder in his chest. Ajanaku departed for the evil forest to meet Iku. He did not look back. The shadows thickened as he stepped between the twisted trees. The air grew colder. The silence became its own kind of sound. The forest swallowed him whole. Mist curled around his ankles like searching fingers. The branches above creaked softly, not with wind, but with memory. And there, the ancient spirits stirred, not seen but felt. Their presence moved through root and fog, watching him, remembering him. For no one enters the realm of death without waking what sleeps beneath. First came Bridge of Bones, a narrow, trembling span arching over a chasm so dark and deep it seemed to lead not into the earth, but into the soul of the underworld itself. The bones beneath his feet were not merely those of men, but of oaths, broken destinies abandoned, and warriors who had faltered at the brink of truth. They cracked and whispered beneath each step, warning him, regret is heavier than death. Mist coiled thickly on the far side, and from it emerged the Warden of Regrets, a towering phantom clad in sorrow. Its form shifted like smoke, its face ever-changing, wearing masks of the people Ajanaku had lost, and those he feared he might yet lose. The Warden spoke without words, reaching into his chest, with memories sharpened like blades. You are too late. You are not enough. You will not return. But Ajanaku roared back, a sound not of fury, but defiance, forged in the fires of purpose. He lifted his iron staff, sacred and scarred, the weapon of his lineage. Not just a tool of war, but of memory, bound with strands of ancestral hair and etched with markings from his coming-of-age rites. The battle began. The staff met the mist in wild arcs, crushing thrusts, ringing with impact, though it struck no flesh. Each blow landed not against sinew, but against fear itself. The Warden lashed out with claws of doubt, slicing across Ajanaku's spirit, conjuring visions of failure. But he stood his ground, battered, bleeding but unbroken. Finally, with a cry that echoed across the chasm, into the realm of gods, Ajanaku drove his staff into the Warden's heart, if such a thing existed. And light, searing and golden, burst from the blow. The phantom screamed not in pain, but in release. Its form crumbled, scattered into dust, then into silence. The bridge steadied, the bones no longer whispered, and Ajanaku stepped forward, each stride a triumph over the regrets that had once haunted his name. Next, Ajanaku faced the puzzle of the moon's reflection, a riddle of light and illusion he solved with wisdom earned on the battlefield. Beyond the crumbling bridge of bones, Ajanaku entered a clearing. Unnaturally still, the mist parted like curtains before him. In the center of the clearing lay a perfectly still black pool, round, glass-like, and eerily silent. Above it, the broken storm clouds cleared just enough to reveal a single cold, white moon, its light bathing the glade in spectral silver. The moon's reflection on the pool shimmered, but it was wrong. Fractured into dozens of shifting versions, each slightly distorted. At the edge of the pool, carved into ancient stone, were the words, "Only he who knows his true face shall cross the waters unharmed." The pool whispered, tempting him, "Choose your destiny. Choose your desire." Ajanaku stepped forward cautiously, the mist swirling low around his ankles. One by one, he studied each reflection. First, he saw himself as a king, all elegant, leader of men. But this mirage was neither him nor desired by him if he was to fail or fall. This was not the test that will break him. Ajanaku forsook the crown of gold, and immediately a different Ajanaku appeared. This time a beggar, broken and bleeding and battered. He was an eyesore, wallowing in pity and degradation. But he promptly snapped out of it, for he knew that absence of affluence is not a death sentence. This time, tenacity won. The test continues. Some showed him monstrous, hollow-eyed. A few even reflected him lost and small. But Ajanaku closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He remembered the countless battles he had fought, not for kingship, not for power, but for his people, for honor, for loyalty, for the promises he made beneath the weeping willows. He opened his eyes and stepped forward, ignoring every reflection. Instead, he trusted the stillness beneath the illusions, the wisdom he carried not in his eyes, but in his heart. As his foot touched the first stone set into the water, the illusions shattered like glass, the false reflections vanishing into mist. The last test was poignant. It shook him, For him saw himself as small, inconsequential and tiny as he was about to wallow in self-doubt. The real moon, unbroken and pure, lit the true path across the waters. And so, Ajanaku crossed safely to the other side, the spirits of the glade murmuring softly in approval. But unseen, high above the trials of man and beast, Oya, goddess of winds, lightning and lust, watched him, cloaked in storm cloud and silence. Her presence trembled in the air like thunder yet to break. Her eyes, fierce as fire, softened with something unreadable as they followed Ajanaku's every step. She did not come with swords or curses. Her power was more dangerous than that. It was desire, illusion, interruption, and again she came to tempt him. She appeared first as a lost maiden, trembling in the dark, her garments torn, her voice cracked with fear. "Please," she whimpered, clutching his arm. "The forest has taken my brother. I have nothing, no one. Help me." Iku lurked in the shadows, watched in awe as she toiled with him. Her eyes shimmered with tears, or were they stars? Ajanaku faltered for just a moment, but in the maiden's shadow, he saw the flick of lightning. He let go. "Next," she whispered through the leaves, her voice sultry and slow, curling around his ears like smoke. "You have done enough. Lay down your burden. Come to me. There is warmth here, peace, rest, love." The words made his knees heavy, the promise almost too beautiful to refuse. But Ajanaku clenched his fists and kept walking. "Not yet," he muttered. "Not here." Oya, not in disguise, not as a maiden, not as a whisper, not as memory, but as herself, tall, radiant, terrifying in beauty. The storm in human skin, her garments danced without wind. Her eyes burned with something between pity and power. In her hands, a carved wooden bowl, warm food, real, fragrant, steaming. Life held out like an open secret. "Eat," she said, her voice low and thunder-laced. "No riddles, no games, no illusions. You are dying, warrior. Even destiny requires breath." Ajanaku stared at the bowl, then at her. His vision swam, pride screamed, spirit resisted, but the body knew hunger, knew collapse, knew that strength was no match for time. And this time, Ajanaku, the sons of suns, the fierce warrior, embodiment of Sengo, the god of thunder himself, ate. The first bite was fire, the second salt, the third shame. And Oya smiled, not with triumph but something stranger, sadness perhaps, for she knew even the mightiest fall, but not all who fall are lost. A long, long time ago, before the storms obeyed her call, before the world knew her as goddess, Oya was still flesh and blood. A woman of fire and fierce beauty, she sat at Sango's sacred table, adorned in violet robes that crackled faintly with the promise of power. At her side sat the other wives, Osun, golden and radiant, whose laughter flowed like a river, and Oba, solemn and gentle, her eyes heavy with devotion. Sango, king of thunder and fire even then, favored none more than Oya. He laughed louder with her. He lingered longer by her side, and the others, though cloaked in smiles, burned with jealousy. One day, driven by longing and quiet despair, Oba approached Oya in the cool of the garden, where the baobab trees whispered old secrets. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Tell me, sister, tell me what binds Sango's heart so fully to you." And Oya, sly as the coiling winds, with a glint of mischief, behind her storm-dark eyes whispered her deadly lie. I cut off my right ear, blended it into Sango's food. He will never love another as he loves me. Desperate to earn the same favor, blinded by longing, Oba obeyed. She severed her own ear. She cooked it secretly into a feast and served it to the king herself, her hands trembling with hope. But the taste of blood and sorrow filled Sango's mouth, and when he discovered what had been done, rage consumed him. His mouth opened, and from it burst fire and thunder, great arcs of lightning splitting the sky. The earth trembled, the skies darkened, and the drums of destiny beat louder than ever before. This was the birth of his godhood. Oba, shamed and broken, fled from the palace. Her cries carried on the winds Oya once commanded. She fled to the river's edge, and there, heart-shattered, she surrendered her mortal form, transforming into a river to weep and flow forever beyond Sango's reach. Till date, Oba's spirit embodies Odo Oba, located between Oyo-Ile and Ogbomoso. For a fact, Ajanaku bathed in this river. But what is the link between the ear of power, which triggered Sango's awakening? But now a darker prophecy is whispered. Did Oya feed Ajanaku part of her own spirit, just as she once tricked Oba? If so, is it a gift of strength, or a secret curse to tether him forever to the storm she commands?